And who would have thunk? Who would have thunk, bro? Literature and scientific evidence coming out on a topic such as listening to music. And I think one of the topics that they talk about, this was specifically the authors Chandra and Levitin, they go into how music evolutionarily doesn't have a direct survival benefit associated with it. Like music itself, we have circuitry for enjoyment of music. But think about it, like we don't need music to survive. Music itself doesn't like help us gather food. Music doesn't help us reproduce. Music, biologically speaking, isn't like necessary for survival, yet it's something that we as human beings hang on to so deeply, which I think is a huge, like it's a huge sticking point. It's like, why has like every culture across like all humans, like in every region of the world, has some form of their own music that they make. So what is it that's kept music around for so long if it doesn't necessarily have any biological necessity for survival? Like, you ever thought about that?
Yeah, you want to know what I think?
I do want to know what you thought.
Well, I think that music actually plays a role in our society because it is a language that taps into our brain chemistry. It taps into what we are as a social species, our hardwiring for communication with one another, and our ability to express emotion versus showing it physically might be like in dance form, but music is like the auditory compilation of emotion. And because we're so hardwired to having receptors that are meant to pick up on the nuances of how people talk, how people behave, music is the amalgamation of these conductors and musicians pouring their emotion into each note, coordinating it in a way to draw out the sensation of the emotion that they are trying to achieve in their listeners. And you're right, it might not have a evolutionary goal, but our evolution has made music a part of who we are as a species.
I think that's amazing what you were just saying. Um, it it's transcendent. It doesn't necessarily, like, if you look at it directly, yeah, maybe it doesn't necessarily have like a biological necessity to it. But I think it's evolved. It's almost like a transcendent, like you're saying, it's like we have physical expressions that we can have as human beings, like dance, for example. Like dance is a physical expression of a set of emotions that we're feeling at a time. So music is very interesting. And, you know, I think it's transcendent in that it brings together all these different people that can actually come together, and they're not fighting. Like there's total peace when you're making music. Think about it. Like you can't be fighting with the person next to you if you're making music with that person. So it's almost like you transcend the human condition of being in constant conflict, and you unite with that person next to you. And everybody's playing different instruments. Think about it. Or if you're in a chorus, everybody's got a different voice, and you're all coming together to transcend this almost like earthly realm. So music, in a sense, is like a higher expression of being a human being because it transcends all the conflict that we're constantly in. It almost transcends individuality to where you become one with that group of people that's next to you. If you think about it that way, it's like if everybody is playing a different instrument and we're all different and we're all unique, it's like the perfect expression of everybody's unique individuality coming together to then become one in this one performance, this one piece of music that everybody who's different is coming together to make. And it's very transcendent. So maybe not directly biologically necessary, but something that transcends the human condition in a sense. So it speaks to what we're capable of as human beings. And that is like That's huge. We're capable of so much, and it's almost like it's just like a little window, a little point of peace and time that we're able to experience when we're all coming together to express music. So, I don't think it's biologically necessary, but I do think that it is necessary for us to transcend, and I think that's the aim. The aim is ultimately to go up. We don't want to go to our baser selves, the baser animalistic instincts of conflict, and always having to be arguing with the person next to you, always trying to get your piece and all that stuff. You don't need all that because, realistically, if you look at like what humans are capable of, and you look at the best qualities of humans, I truly believe this. We're able to transcend conflict. I think we can do that as a species, but we have to all collectively get to that point, and that's something that music represents. So that's like a holy poopy. I went very philosophical on that, but
No, absolutely. And I think whether you're playing by yourself or you're playing as a part of a band, there is a harmony that happens. Now, obviously, the definition of harmony is more than one person, but when it's one person, it's a harmony of this person's emotion, spirit, talent, practice, all coming together to create this music, this collection of notes that forms this beautiful song that can even change depending on who's playing it and the inflection that they put onto each note. And as you said, when you're playing in a group of people, there's a harmony, there's a teamwork that has to exist in order to achieve the desired outcome of the song. In fact, from what I've seen, neurologically speaking, music is supposed to sound a certain way, not just because the conductor or the person writing it has formed the notes in such pattern, but also it's patterns themselves that cause our brain to react to the music in a certain way. The music that follows a pattern and that we can have this sense of anticipation and satisfaction when the music hits these bobs and weaves, this ebbs and flow of the song. It allows our mind to get in tune with it and actually achieve a measurable wavelength that is seen in people hearing music. And that wavelength can actually be interrupted when the musicians or the music piece itself has odd patterns or maybe in frequencies in the execution of the notes that disrupt the pattern that is expected by the listener. This may be intentional or not. It depends on the song, right? And you got like scary music oftentimes has patterns that are not so expected, more like jump scare type of notes that come about versus something that's more melodic and more of a love song or something, it's much easier going and satisfying to listen to. Each of those musical pieces created will occur a different brainwave in the listener. And just going off of what you were saying and kind of justifying it as harmony when what you were explaining when it came to our ability to join together through music, it's not just the benefit that you see in the playing and the execution of the music, but also what we see in the listener. It's a beautiful harmony of the intention of the player and the perception of the listener. And when they are both working in harmony, you achieve this harmony that is not only experienced in the conductor and the players, but also in the audience. It's very interesting. All together, this room of people could just be, as you said, transcended and flow on this musical boat ride up and up and up. And it's something that is really hard not to get philosophical about when you talk about it.
dude, it's easy to get philosophical with music, man.
I'm sure there is a math to it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is a science of numbers.
At music theory, I failed it. Yeah, it was hard.
Absolutely. I have no doubt that there's a hard working science that tries its best to calculate music. But what it's calculating to, what it's synchronizing to, at the end of the day, are the notes that we humans perceived to have a certain order.
And that's what chord progressions are written. Dude, like think about this, bro. Okay. Music theory basically at its core was basically started by Bach. Okay.
Shout out to Bach.
Shout out to Mr. Bach.
Shout out.
So 4-part writing, basically, like the premise of it is that you have certain chords that occur in a certain order, and those chords create a flow that is desirable to the listener. Okay. And the most common one is 1-5. No, it's 1-4-5-1. Okay, that's like the most common chord progression. And when you hear 1-4-5-1, what do you hear? That's like a little bit of a buildup, a little bit of a tension at the 4, at the 5. It's the climax, and then we're back to 1, where we're familiar and happy again. So that's what music theory is. It's like the science and the math behind, like, what leads
The
to
feeling of it.
good sounds. Exactly. What leads to this the subjective. It's funny because
Yeah,
you can't
isn't it?
separate objective and subjective. This is one of those instances where the subjective human experience is actually being measured by objective measures, which is different pitches that are separated by certain distances, which is what makes up chords. So different pitches, you put these pitches together and you get chords. And those chords make you feel a certain way. So if I put this chord before this chord, I feel this way. But if I put this chord before this chord, then I feel this way. So that's what music theory is. It's mathematical distances between these different pitches and the combination of those pitches to create chords. So it's huge.